Hey, everybody. Welcome to Art Conspiracy. I'm Amy, and I went on a little art adventure today that I thought I would share with you. Um, Went out sketching and painting with my sketching group. There's 5 of us. We go out once a week. I'm lucky enough to be able to do that, and it's safe. I hope you guys are staying safe out there, whether you're working at home or you're able to go out somewhere. Let's keep painting and keep this going. Um, so anyway, let me get started. Jump in. I'll tell you what I did, and then I'll show you what I got to do to finish this piece of art. And I'm glad to have you along for the ride. So here we go. In Thailand, there are amazing temples, just beautiful structures and statues and golden light and shadow. And my friends and I go to these complexes often to draw. So what do I decide to draw? Check this out. We're walking through the parking lot and I spy this sort of group back here, a building, and you have to look a little bit closer, but here we go. This old statue of a lion. It's a mythical lion that guards the temple gates. It's called a sing. And this guy really attracted me. He was quite spectacular. Of course, you got to ignore the car, you got to work around things, but this was my subject. And I just want to encourage everybody, regardless of where you're working, whether it's out in the world or in your house or even from a photo, you can work around the car. You can edit it out and you can make up the bottom or you can peek around the corner. So sometimes you have to be kind of inventive about it. So anyway, this is the photograph that I actually worked from. And I'll show you what I ended up doing. I mean, I love the big empty space in the center of this. And also, this is what I call dirty white. There's a lot of this in Thailand, these big white walls and buildings that get stained by the weather. And trying to figure out what to do with them with watercolor, I think, is a challenge, and it's a fun challenge. So I'm really happy with what I did today. But so, and here's a close up of this thing. They're very cool structures. They all look a little bit different. What I liked about this guy too was he was sort of peeking over the wall out at the world, you know. So I wanted to capture that. So here's my painting as it is right now. And what I want to do is finish it, which is sometimes the trickiest part of something. And my best advice when you're afraid, you're working on something and you're afraid to go forward, you might wreck it. I think you need to just take a picture of it, capture it for posterity, and then just go forward with abandon. If you wreck it, you wreck it. You know, it's only a piece of paper, but you can't be afraid. You have to take it all the way, you know, with abandon. So here's what I want to do. I want to finish off kind of the rectangle within the frame. So I want to add some green up here, maybe some little tones here. And I want to make the sky blue. I want to keep this guy's head dark and in pretty good relief, or, you know, the silhouette. So I want the sky to be really light. So I'm going to do a super, super light blue wash. And there's also an area where his hind leg comes forward here, and I'm going to add some of that. And I'm also going to distinguish him more clearly from where the dark of the wall is, and he begins. I feel like there's this tangent here that kind of lines up, and I want to separate those two forms. So that's my goal. So let's see if I can do it. I'm going to use some of my tricks besides watercolor, which I often do. So let's get started. Okay, we're back. So here's my watercolor. You can't quite see the whole thing at once because my tripod doesn't go up quite high enough. And what I'm going to do, I think some pure watercolor artists will cringe at this, but I'm going to use some drawing tools to change this. So I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to make him a little bit darker. And rather than using paint, I'm going to use my drawing supplies. And I'm going to just darken his silhouette a little bit. And one of the things that I'm working up against is I actually used gold paint. I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it on the video, but this is actually gold paint. Literally, oh, there you go. Literally gold, which is kind of fun to play with. But when you use gold paint, actual gold paint, you only really see it depending on where you are in the room and where you are looking at the piece of art. So it's not the illusion of gold, it's actual gold. And I don't know, it's a fun option, but I'm not totally sure that it's the best one. But in any event, once you put it down on your watercolor, you can't really paint on top of it. There's something about the pigment that repels more color on top. So that's not going to work. So I darkened this a little bit at the edge, just making this a little bit more substantial. I'm also going to take my blue, and I'm going to introduce that back leg that I talked about, the hind leg. I want to see right through this tree here, because his leg is scooping down and he's like standing on this back foot, which is kind of important. The way a sing stands is pretty cool. So it's a pretty severe line, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to soften it. I used another kind of blue, and I'm putting that in there, and then I'm going to soften that with colored pencil. I'll show you that in a sec. So here we go. Oh, look, here's his foot coming out here. Oh, I really love coming in with drawing media on top of colored pencil. It's really kind of, on top of watercolor. It's very fun. Okay. Here is colored pencil in addition to marker. And look at that. Oh, I can really make that nice and juicy red and just increase the drama here on this scene, standing there in the silhouette, looking out over the wall of the temple. Oh yeah, he's a good guy. Okay, and maybe I'll make this a little bit darker, just increase the contrast on the cape that he's wearing, or whatever it is. Beautiful. Okay, good. And now I have that back leg out there. That's good. Here we go. There. And I might not even need to soften that. It's kind of dramatic, but I can if I want to. Okay, so I'm almost ready for the sky. Let me grab a colored pencil. Okay, so now if I want to soften the marker that I used, I can go right on top of that. And maybe I'll do some close-ups of this and include them somewhere. So you can see, I can lighten up this beautiful section here, smooth it out. And then this is a great way to also make a correction, because you can sort of camouflage those darker marks and make them softer. Oh yeah, and also create a sense of texture if you want to. Good, 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 good. One other thing I wanted to do, I talked about separating these two out. I'm going to actually use a Pitt pen, a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lighten up the wall next to my sing. So I'm making the wall lighter. And you can do this with Chinese white or white acrylic, but I needed to reintroduce a little bit more light and separate out the two. Good, good. And I also made this line, this silhouette, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more dynamic. Before it was just kind of straight, and now it's gotten more of a jog, which I think is good. Okay, let's put some white in here too. Really make this feature stand out, this negative space between the leg. Good. Okay. All right, next we're on to the watercolor. Okay, I spritz. I'm going to use just a pretty neutral green, which is like a sap green. Got my test sheet. Okay, it's not quite as neutral as I want. I'm going to add a touch of red. Just a touch. Make it even more neutral. Okay. I have my tissue handy. I want this to sort of fade as it goes to the corner. Putting it on very unevenly, but paying attention to my goal is to make this, hey, Lulu, it's my doggy barking. Want it to get a little softer as it approaches the edge. Pushing those little blobs around. Good. Good. Now you can pick up some from my test sheet. If I want to feel like I need more texture. Put some down here. Okay, good. Good enough. Okay. Now, last thing, the sky. And I got to tell you, I'm a little nervous about this sky. The first thing I did was I checked out my blues, what I have available. So I always make a sheet like this of all my blues. And I think about what I want to do now. The blue that's here now is pretty neutral, actually. It's a little bit more intense here, but it's like an indigo blue, maybe like ultramarine indigo. So I'm going to use a Prussian blue. I want a different blue than the blue in here. So this is a great handy little cheat sheet to have your colors, and you can help you pick out which color you want. So I've got my Prussian blue right here, and I've also got a little extra milk mixing tray because I want to have this really pretty loose. I've got lots of water, and oh, look at that, because it's a pretty intense pigment, and I want it to be not too dark because I want my sing to sing. I want my sing to pop out. Okay, I'm going to use a little gravity. Okay, here we go. I'm going in. Going in. I'll lay down. Oh, yeah. That's not too dark. That's pretty good. It's going to be really subtle. Maybe add just a tiny bit more. Laying down like a bead of color. Okay, now I'm just going to use water. I want this to be really light. Some of my green is moving, that's okay. Super, super light. Ooh, I'm almost like staining the paper. Look at that. Pretty good. Pretty good. It's wet, it's moving around a little bit. Now I can get another tissue. I don't want texture. Now, almost picking up all the blue, which I don't want to pick it all up. So I got to be careful. So I'm going to dab, maybe get my brush a little, wet these edges, maybe bring it back down a little, pushing it around, showing it who's boss, letting it run up toward the top. It's very hard to get a perfectly smooth surface. So it's a good thing that's not my thing. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, this is good. See, there's like a little aura of color. So it looks like I paid attention to the white. It's not just white, white. It's got this beautiful soft blue around it. So I think I did what I set out to do. You witnessed it. Okay. I will try to take a picture of that and I'll show you how it turned out. But I'm pretty happy with my Sing, my mythical lion. So I hope you enjoyed that quick one today. Artconspiracy.net. So glad you're here. Happy painting. And I'll talk to you again soon. Okay. Stay safe out there. Okay. Thinking of you. Bye.